is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Here are Mickey Spagnola, Brian Broaddus, Rob Phillips, and Bill Jones.
And it is a good Wednesday here at the Star in Frisco, inside the SWBC Mortgage Studios. This is Talkin Cowboys with a little revised schedule after the Monday night game as the Cowboys start preparations for the Minnesota Vikings and another primetime appearance this week on Sunday Night Football. And things get really interesting here in the month of November. Bill Jones with Mickey Spagnola and Rob Phillips. Brian brought us out today. And on the practice field, there is nothing set up today, Mickey Spagnola.
Or you think they're going inside?
I think maybe they're going inside
but you
today.
know what?
You got a later practice,
they're
so
not
maybe
practicing to 2:50.
Yeah,
so there's plenty of time.
They
to
still
set
have
up.
time to set things up. Although we do have the threat of some rain in the forecast, so
we
may
do.
be taking it inside anyway.
It's been kind of drizzly, hasn't it?
It has.
We're not quite back on a normal schedule because it's like a Wednesday that's kind of feeling like a Tuesday.
This is like a catch-up day today. They're catching up, and then tomorrow they'll be back on schedule. For the rest of the week.
And I would think it's a lighter practice today after getting back so late on Monday morning, or I guess early on Monday morning, Tuesday morning. Get my days right, yeah. See, it's confusing, right?
It is when you get in. What time did y'all get in yesterday? 5:30 in the morning? I know you said you got to bed at 6,
That's when
right?
my head hit the pillow at 5:30.
I got a good 90 minutes of sleep. It was wonderful. A little cat nap, if you will.
But you're well rested for today, right?
Yes.
So you would be able to hit the practice field right now.
Absolutely. Pat me up. Let's go.
When I did my fan report, I guess I sounded energetic this morning. And they go, "Oh, you sound energetic." I said, "Well, yeah, I got 10 hours sleep." And they said, "Oh,
10 hours?
How did you do that?" I said, "I passed out at 9 o'clock." They go, "What did you take?" I said, 3 hours sleep the night before.
Wow.
Or the morning before.
I can't remember the last time I got 10 hours sleep in one stretch. All right.
I don't think it was consistent.
We turned the page towards the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
But I would like to say one thing about the Giants game, because there was sort of a narrative yesterday that this team, and it's been obvious all season basically, the slow starts the team has got off to. But when you turn the football over, it's going to appear that you're not ready to play or whatever. When you turn the ball over on the first play of the game, second drive of the game, you miss a field goal. That's like a turnover. You're giving the ball back to the other team at the 44-yard line. And then the fourth drive of the game, you fumble the football away. You're going to have a slow start when that happens. It's about execution. It's not about being ready to play a football game.
Yeah, I guess it is a slow start in terms of the scoreboard, and it's becoming a trend, especially on the road for this team. But you're right. I mean, you look at the way these drives ended for them. Okay, you throw a pick on the first play of the game. When's the last time that happened in a Cowboys football game?
But the defense was ready to play. They stopped them.
They were ready. They were ready to play.
That's right.
And by the way, that's a big blitz by Jeff Heath on that first drive to force a field goal and get off the field. But then the next 5 drives in the first half, you're all in Giants territory. They're moving the football, and when you talk to guys after the game, Mick, it's yes, they say we got to clean things up. But I don't think they're discouraged by it because they feel like they can pretty much do what they want to do offensively to get in position to score. It's just a matter of finishing drives up.
It's like they're moving the ball.
They're moving the ball.
They just don't take care of it well. And I noticed when I was looking, and I was trying to find it real quick, at the score by quarters, the only quarter the Cowboys have been outscored is the first quarter. And I think it was something like, I got it here, 41-37.
But
every other quarter, they've outscored the opponent.
But to Bill's point, some of that's a product of the defense because I think the Philly game was the first time they went down the field and scored a touchdown on the opening drive. They haven't gotten off to good, even in the 3-game winning streak to start the year. They weren't coming out like, gangbusters.
No, that was my point. Not the defense. It was the offense didn't score points. They were screwing up. And check this out. The other thing I noticed, They've got 11 giveaways. 8 of them are in the first half. 8.
Poor Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
He's going to set
can't.
that's got to be a record, right? That's the 4th, I think, touchdown called back because of a penalty.
Yeah, had a fumble.
How does that
too.
happen? And it's not his penalty.
Right. But, yeah, and you go back to the Green Bay game. I mean, the reason they fell behind so much against the Packers in the first half of that game, if you break it all down, I mean, if you looked at one thing, it's the turnovers.
Sure.
Okay? You turn the football over, and there's not that much difference, even between a 2-7 Giants team and a now 5-3 Cowboys team. If you're going to turn it over 3 of your first 4 possessions, you're in for a dogfight all the way to the end of the game.
Yeah, and you encourage a team like the Giants. It's like, oh, well, yeah.
Or the Jets. I mean, the Jets.
Let's hang in here. We
when
can
you go
beat this
for
team.
it on 4th and 1.5 or whatever it was at the 7-yard line, and you don't make it, it's like a turnover. Okay,
Right.
and defense in that case gave up a 93-yard touchdown.
And you don't have to do that either.
Yeah. So anyway, and the other part of it is when you halfway through the season, so it's easy to do the math. Okay, Dak Prescott has led this Cowboys offense, number 1 offense in the league in terms of total yards. He's got the number 1 quarterback rating in the league at the halfway point. He's on a pace for a career-high 30 touchdown passes. Most significantly, this team is on a pace to have 20 sacks is all. Dak has only been sacked 10 times, down from what was it last year?
56.
56 last year. How about that?
And it was like close to 30 or something in the last few games down the stretch of 2017 as well. I mean, he wasn't protected as well as he could have been the last year and a half. And yeah, they've done a much better job. Speaks to Travis Frederick, speaks to Connor Williams playing better. I think
know what
you
else
watch him, he's playing better this year.
Speaks to
You know
Dak.
what else it speaks to?
What?
Wide receivers getting open. He doesn't have to hold the ball as long as he's been holding it. They've
getting
got
sacked last
3
year, too.
guys getting open, and that certainly helps out.
And I think it speaks to Dak's development too, and being able to read defenses and go through his progressions and so forth and find an open guy. So it's very. But it also, here's the other thing it speaks to is the Cowboys' schedule in the first half of the season, and that's where I think it really gets interesting now here in November, because you can't say, when you're playing the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday night, you can't say, well, it's just the Giants it's just the Redskins, it's the Dolphins, whatever. Now you're getting into the meat of your schedule against teams that have visions of playing in January.
But they showed themselves what they can do when they tore apart Philadelphia. No one's going to sit here and say, well, it's just the Eagles, right?
Right.
That a lot of people were picking them to win the division. So that shows you how good this team can be if they're not turning the football over, if they're not beating themselves. I loved what Dak said after the game. He said, we are our biggest rivals, meaning we keep beating ourselves so much. And that's why I thought the win over the Giants was somewhat impressive, because they overcame themselves along with the Giants.
But that Philly game it wasn't just the offense. That was a complete victory. The first one we've probably seen all year. And Jason Garrett spoke to it yesterday about defensively, we can be an elite defense if we turn the ball over defensively. And they did that against Philly. And they did that a couple times. They have 3 this past week? But
3.
But what they were able to do against Philly and those short drives really make a difference. I mean, you look defensively what they've done. They're only giving up 28% conversions on 3rd down, second in the league. I mean, that is the mark of a very good defense. If they can continue doing what they're doing, turning the ball over, and by the way, Xavier Woods is your NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Now, all of a sudden, your offense isn't having to go 60, 70, 80 yards every time.
Well, think about this. So over the first, how many games they played? The first 6 games, they had 5 takeaways. Over the last 2 games, they've had 8 takeaways. You think that helps? Yeah, absolutely.
Greater margin for error offensively.
I mean, and shorter fields.
Long, yeah.
I mean, both of Xavier Woods' takeaways, or the interception and the forced fumble, led to field goals. So that was like a cheap 6 points right there. And by the way, it's amazing that you can have an NFC Defensive Player of the Week that is your free safety for less than $14 million a year.
Don't go there, Mickey. Don't. I tweeted that he was the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. I just retweeted it, and I said Jamal who, and I got pushback that you should know better than that. Jamal Adams wouldn't be replacing Xavier Woods. He'd be replacing Jeff Heath.
No, I was referring to Earl Thomas.
Well, but what I'm talking about is
I know.
Jamal Adams. If he was here, eventually he would be that $14 million a year safety.
Yeah, and unless he's picking a ball off playing single safety high.
Yeah, whether he's playing in the box or playing free, that would be the investment, and that was the point of my tweet. Was okay, yeah. Xavier Woods can do the job.
Because like the Amari Cooper trade, you trading for a guy, you're extending him, and you're going to pay him eventually at top dollar. You're not going to make that deal if he's not going to get paid, high level money at some point. By the way, Nick looked this up. The last time a Cowboy safety won this award, when was the last time?
Darren Woodson.
Not Darren Woodson.
It was Roy Williams?
George Teague in 1996.
Wow.
I mean, that shows you, they've had good safeties here over the years, but since Woody, they have not had, a big-time playmaker guy at safety. And Xavier, we saw it in training camp, and these last two games, he's been really productive for him in that regard.
It's a pretty subjective decision by the NFL who wins those things, too, by the way.
So you're minimizing it.
No.
Because Rob's talking about it, so let's minimize it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You didn't
Mr. Disagreement.
You didn't let me finish.
What's wrong with? I mean, who else did you give it to?
How do you know Woody didn't have a similar game like that and never won it?
Well, here's the thing.
I said since Woody. I said Woody was a big time playmaker.
No, but he hadn't won it since '96, and he played through 2002.
Pro Bowls and Super Bowls are probably more important than weekly NFL awards. I get it.
Listening is a skill.
It's a cool stat, Mick. That's all.
Listening is a skill.
Yeah.
On any of those awards, though, part of it is it's luck because, okay, it just so happens that let's say somebody had 3 picks in a game, okay, or had 4 sacks. Well, they're going to get the NFC Defensive Player of the Week this week. It's based also on what else happened around the league. So you can have a 2-interception game, but if back in the day Strahan went off and set the NFL record. With his how many sacks did he have when Favre gave him the sack?
22 or something like that.
He gets it that week. So, but that's great for Xavier Woods, and that's one thing going forward and we've seen it now in the last couple of weeks. The defensive players turning into playmakers, and that's big. And I know y'all talked about Michael Bennett yesterday, but I think that is can be a huge factor on this defense going forward.
Were you surprised at how many snaps he played?
I wasn't surprised how many snaps because I knew that there was such a need for the Cowboys to do that, and I assumed he's in shape, so play him, And I figured Marinelli probably loved his whole demeanor, getting after the quarterback, but. How about the need that the Cowboys had with someone who can push the pocket in the middle, but he was also coming off the edge too, and that I think Mickey, you mentioned it yesterday. He's a better Tyrone Crawford as far as pressuring the quarterback,
and it gives Tank a little bit of a break, and keeps him fresher throughout the course of a game.
Yeah, because they didn't have to overuse Tank. I think his snaps were at 45, and Bennett had 43 playing two different positions. So, yeah, it helped out. And, the fact that he can do both like that and be equally effective, I think is going to be a huge benefit going forward.
All right, Mickey, what is this phone number that we have? You want to entertain some phone calls today?
855-2297.
Let's see how much we get because we are on an hour earlier than usual here. It's an unusual Wednesday as the schedule is pushed back today. Jason Garrett, his press conference comes up at 11 o'clock Central Time, so moments after Talking Cowboys, and Talking Cowboys continues in a moment.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their Deal Score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this,
Ready? Blue 20.
download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheer.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One score September 2019.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Talkin Cowboys continues on a Wednesday here at the Star in Frisco. And join us on Saturday on Tostitos Championship Plaza for the Salute to Service Plaza Party. Enjoy live entertainment, military ceremonies, Dallas Cowboys alumni autographs, and more. After the event festivities, the Star will be hosting the top 2 Madden players as they face off in the EA Sports Madden NFL 20 Club Championship presented by Spire. Admission and parking are free. That's coming up on Saturday. Tostitos Championship Plaza will be a big weekend and a salute to service throughout the week and the weekend as the Cowboys play the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday night.
Is that why that big tent's being...
Oh, is there? I haven't seen that.
The plaza.
Oh, it probably is.
Probably so.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to play that game outdoors,
Like using the big screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they could still use it,
They
right?
could. Yeah. That's right.
Just protecting in case it
And it's
rains.
supposed to be, well, I think by the weekend, it's supposed to be rainy today and tomorrow, and then by the weekend, it's supposed to be beautiful.
Very good.
It's going to be a great football weekend with those purple people eaters coming to town.
And they're playing pretty well overall this year.
Yeah, 4 out of the last 5 they've won. They lost at Kansas City 26-23. Cousins has turned his season around the last few weeks.
It helps when you also have the league's leading rusher, too.
Dalvin Cook.
Yes. We talked to Zim this morning, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he had a conference call.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. He finally loosened up at the end. During the beginning,
he's been pretty tight here.
A lot of short answers, yeah.
He's always kind of been like that, right?
Yeah. We loosened him up talking about Sean Lee.
Oh, yeah?
And then a little bit on his time here, too.
What do you say about Sean Lee?
As he pointed it out, he goes, gosh, that's like 20 years ago, but not quite 20 years.
What was the question he was asked about when Jason was a quarterback here? And
Todd asked him, It's like, what do you remember when Jason was like the scout team quarterback having to go against your guys? And he didn't bite on it. He said, I don't know if I remember any stories. But then he talked later about Jason being a head coach. And, their careers, I mean, Jason's done it longer than Mike as a head coach, but their careers kind of similar from being a coordinator to going on to be a head coach. I think Mike's done it, 6 years, 7 years?
He's been there since 2014.
So this is his 6th year.
It seems like he's been there longer than that.
I know, because he had been the defensive coordinator, remember, at Cincinnati for quite a few times after.
Well, he was a defensive coordinator with the Bengals from 2008 through 2013. So he actually, since 2014, he's been with the Vikings. And so the Falcons, he was 1 year in 2007. And that was, of course, after being with the Cowboys under Parcells, finished up there. And so he was the defensive coordinator in Atlanta in 2007 when Jason became the offensive coordinator here with the Cowboys. So they're mirrors their coaching careers there.
And that happened because Bill Parcells was dragging his feet if he was going to come back or not, and he got offered that job, and he couldn't afford to say, no, I'm going to stay here, and then they change head coaches, and you never know what the new head coach was going to do. So he goes to Atlanta with the former head coach at Arkansas. Petrino.
Bobby Petrino.
And remember, Petrino quit like three-quarters of the way through the season, I think it was, and Zim, the next year when they had to play Atlanta when he was in Cincinnati, he just went off on it, if you remember.
But it was 25 years ago when Mike Zimmer was hired on the defensive staff here with the Cowboys in 1994.
Really a remarkable career because, I mean, how many guys stay on a staff through 4 different head coaching tenures in one franchise, you know? I mean, how common is that? And I think he became the DC, 2000 under Campo.
Yep.
And then Parcells comes in and he changes, midstream, goes to a 3-4, and they have success there. Getting DeMarcus Ware obviously helps. But I feel like when he got the job in Minnesota, a lot of people thought it was a long time coming because he's just a highly respected guy. And I looked it up. I think every year, but his first year there, they've been a top 5 to top 10 defense, including this year. They've done a really nice job. They're a little uncharacteristic last week against Kansas City, kind of like the Jets game, Mick.
Yeah.
91-yard touchdown run allowed. I think I looked at it. Somebody wrote it was the longest touchdown run a Zimmer defense has ever given up. But other than that, they've been solid this year.
Speaking of how many years ago, I first met Mike Zimmer 41 years ago.
At Missouri in 1979 and 80 is what it says on Wikipedia.
So 40 years ago.
There.
Okay, He was a graduate assistant.
I didn't know that.
We were both trying to make our way in our respective businesses back then. And so here we are.
Where were you?
Meet up again. I was working at the Columbia Tribune covering Missouri football, and he was a graduate assistant. He was a quarterback in college. He got hurt, and that kind of ended his quarterback career, as I remember. He grew up actually about 15 miles from where I did in the suburbs of Chicago.
Lockport, Illinois is where he went to high school.
His dad
went to Illinois
was a
State.
big-time high school coach, too.
All right, let's check in with Sean from Bowie here on Talking Cowboys. Hello, Sean.
How you doing, guys?
Great.
Love Leighton Vander Esch. Just really impressed with how Sean Lee's played lately. What do you think percentage-wise snaps of if he's going to perform like that, maybe increasing his snap count a little bit?
Well, he had 61 snaps, I think, in this game, which is probably where you maxed out where you want him to be. It's going to be interesting against the Vikings, the personnel packages that the Vikings use. When you look at what they did last week against Kansas City, they used a lot of 2 tight end sets. And, of course, they lost Thielen, 7th play of the game. And so probably it might have been a little bit of that by necessity. But they got 2 good tight ends in Rudolph and Smith. And so the Sam is on the field a lot this week. It'll be interesting to see, though, if Vander Esch will be able to come back this week.
Yeah, I think he should have a chance just because they were going to take last week right up to game time before they made the decision that he wasn't ready to go. So I would imagine he was close. I guess we'll see what happens this week in practice. But I think you're right. If Vander Esch is back on the field, he's your weak side linebacker. Sean's playing strong side, and the strong side will be more important just because of the formations that Minnesota uses. Those previous teams, when they were all 3 healthy and ready to go, they were facing a lot of nickel offenses, 3 wide receiver sets. So that got Sean off the field. But I do think he looked a lot more comfortable back at the weak side than and the strong side linebacker's not going to stand out. You're almost like holding down the fort over there. When you're on the weak side, you're charging. And obviously he hadn't lost his ability to do that.
When they're all, this is our mailbag question today, and I just, when everybody's healthy, I don't think they're going to take Van Der Esch off the field a whole bunch. I just think, and I think he's played well this year. I think we've talked about it on the show. The splash plays, maybe there hasn't been as many of those. And Sean has been really good these last 2 games. We talked about it with Barry, the open field tackles, doing a lot of that stuff in space. But I think, when everybody's healthy, this is probably going to go back to the way it was. Although we've seen Sean a little bit in nickel, and they have showed a tendency at times. Jalen Smith has been taken off the field at times for a series here, a series there. Maybe they can figure out a little bit of rotation, but I don't think you're going to see Leighton Vander Esch on the bench. I don't think it's going to be to that extent.
I think you'll see him more on the nickel maybe, and you might see Vander Esch and Lee out there because when they were pairing those 2 guys on the nickel, Jalen Smith was on the line of scrimmage as a pass rusher. Well, now that Michael Bennett's here, I think those days are over.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
maybe he comes off the field and they play Lee more on the nickel, which he's pretty good at in coverage. And by the way, usually diagnosing screenplays too. As he showed in that play. Now, the other one got away from him. I don't know if that was on his side of the field. It was
on the other side of the field,
but
I believe.
He was chasing, and
right.
and if you're chasing Saquon Barkley, you're probably losing.
Yeah. Unless you're Tyreek Hill chasing him.
How about that?
Cheeto, though.
What was it?
I mean, Cheeto, he's got some pretty good wheels,
Yes. Was it 22 miles an hour, though?
In fact, Cheeto ran down Barkley in the season opener.
Right, that long run.
Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
They clocked Tyreek at 22 miles an hour,
something like that.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at that play,
I haven't seen it yet.
Tyreek Hill, I mean, he had stopped his route. It was from a standing start after Damian Williams broke free into the secondary, and Damian Williams had like a 20-yard head start on him, and he caught him.
Yeah, but he had the ball. He had to carry it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did he use does the Madden game have that little power button where you can give him
There is a burst button.
A burst button?
You should play this weekend.
They're going to change the name of it. It's the Tyreek button now.
Yeah, seriously.
That's amazing.
And by the way, of course, that Damian Williams 91-yard touchdown was not the longest touchdown run the Minnesota Vikings have ever given up.
That's right.
99 yards and a half.
It was as close to the goal line as you can possibly be.
That's right.
And with only 10 guys on the field.
There you go.
The great Tony D.
All right, let's go to, we've got another caller here.
Oh, well, let's go.
Brandon from North Carolina. You're next up here on Talking Cowboys. Hello, Brandon.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Great.
Good.
My question is about the consistency part of the first half. Monday night, they had the Jets game written all over it, but you saw the offense click in. When can we start seeing a good first half game from the boys? And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
First half inconsistencies.
Better start seeing it at 7:20 Sunday night.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And then at noon the next Sunday, and at 3:25 the next Sunday.
And then Thursday afternoon
at
Thanksgiving,
3:25.
and then the next Thursday night in Chicago.
It better start now. That stuff's got
and that's kind of my point on, okay, now these games, all right, these are, and again, there's not that much difference, although I think there's more of a difference this year in the haves and the have-nots in the NFL. Well, you're playing the haves now. And even Detroit, even with a losing record, we've seen really good Cowboy teams in the past go up against what we thought were not so good Detroit teams and come away without a victory. And that's going to be a tough game the following week. So, I mean, you're looking at a stretch here now where you've got the Vikings, at the Lions, at the Patriots, and the Bills to close out November.
And then at Chicago.
Right. But this is going to go a long way toward determining the fortunes of this team this year.
Like figure out who you are.
And part of the inconsistencies and the turnovers that have happened on offense, when you have more of a vertical passing game, you're going to have there's more risk involved. There's just naturally more risk involved, and taking care of the football becomes even more of a priority, I think, in that case, because, and I'm talking about ball security, where I think some of it has to do with trying to do too much.
I think that might be it, because I don't really know how to explain it other than that. It's not a lack of preparation. It's not a lack of effort, because The defense is ready to play. The offense is ready enough to play to move the ball down the field. So, and Garrett has talked about that. Just settle down and do your job and make the play. Don't do anything special. And maybe that's it. I mean, it's been a little bit more consistent at home. So you think maybe you get back home and they can get some traction that way.
What has been real encouraging here in the last couple of weeks, really it actually started, I think, with the second half of the Jets game, is the consistency on the offensive line. And, of course, it got the key guys back the following week against Philadelphia. And that, when the offensive line is playing like it is right now, that lends itself to real consistency on offense.
Well, I mean, look at the 2 turnovers this past Monday night. Kind of weird, right? All you're doing is throwing a slant pass. Okay.
I think Barry Church said it great yesterday, and the safety was just laying in the weeds there.
Yeah, and I bet he didn't even see him because he was so close to the line of scrimmage. And the fact that he was able to jump up on a slant, and he was only like 6 or 7 yards away from the quarterback, is remarkable. And then the Cobb fumble, he catches it. It's a first down, but he kind of catches it blindly to where the defense is, and he takes 2 steps, and the guy hits him when he turns, and the helmet hits right on the ball. So they've had these weird turnovers that it's like, well, how do you explain that? It's not like you're running downfield and you got the ball out on a chicken wing or something.
That happened so bang on Cobb that he didn't even have time to consciously consider protecting the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have it fully tucked away,
I mean, just kind of weird stuff. I mean, think about the 2 of the 3 interceptions against Green Bay. Just kind of weird things happened in that game. So I don't know what it is. They're not prepared. Well, how do you prepare? You sit there all week deciding what your first play of the game is going to be, and it ends up being an interception, and then God bless the defense that turned it into a field goal instead of a touchdown.
We didn't mention the opening kickoff, too. I mean, the ball should have been at the 40-yard line, right? Mm-hmm. And just a mistake by a rookie, and, that puts them in that situation down there. So just little things like that. I don't know. It's definitely a trend, but I don't know how you put your finger on one particular thing. I think it's more execution than anything.
Fortunately, you were playing the Giants that day.
Yep, and they against a rookie quarterback that
wasn't able to turn those into touchdowns.
Yeah, and you feel like if you hit him enough and pressure him enough, he's going to make mistakes, and he did. I think Barry mentioned on the show yesterday he's tied for the lead with lost fumbles this year. He's still learning how to play the position at this level.
All right, we continue with more Talking Cowboys in just a moment.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheered.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One score September 2019.
It's time for tailgating with the OtterBox boys.
The OtterBox that builds those crazy protective phone cases?
Yup, and now they're changing the side dish game with the OtterBox Trooper Soft Cooler. Lightweight, mobile, and leak-proof, Trooper is perfect for blitzing a crowded parking lot with a Frito pie.
Amazing. Hey, you think I could fit my 7-layer salmon salad into the Trooper cooler?
Yup, but please don't.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Learn more about the Trooper Soft Coolers at OtterBox.com.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their deal score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this,
Blue 20!
download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Hey Cowboys Nation, this season when the Cowboys win, you get to experience the sweet taste of victory because if the Cowboys win, the next day Dunkin' is offering a free medium hot or iced coffee. So don't just celebrate the Cowboys' success from the sidelines, head to Dunkin' and treat yourself to real victory because this season Cowboys fans aren't only winning on game day, they're winning the next day too with a free medium coffee. Cowboys Nation runs on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Are you into holiday Travel will take us along. That's taking along Jack Black. Go to getjackblack.com and you get your free travel buddies with your $65 purchase. You'll get a Pit Boss antiperspirant and deodorant along with Cool Moisture body lotion. Go to getjackblack.com. Use the code TRAVEL.
You're traveling for the holidays, right?
Am I?
Just prior to the holidays?
We got to go somewhere.
You're going to Philadelphia just
That's
prior
right.
to
We're the Sunday before Christmas.
That's right.
We're definitely into holiday
You
travel.
definitely need that in Philly, right?
Yes. And if you want to take something with you as a gift, you can get the King of Jacks, the very royal treatment.
And
you
what
want
is
to know
that?
what that includes?
Yes. What is that?
You can get some Pure Clean Daily Facial Cleanser, 3 ounces, Double Duty Facial Moisturizer, Cool Moisture Body Lotion, Beard Lube, and Charco Body Bar. Bar soap.
Okay.
That's a new product you've mentioned.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Just in time for the holiday season.
And it comes in a nice, cute little package, too.
You want to show that again?
One
You
more
took
time.
it down.
The camera's
One more
down.
time.
There
the
you
camera
go.
wasn't
There you
on
go.
me. The camera should always be on me.
Well, you could talk to Mickey.
That's right, Bill. Thank you.
All right, let's check in with Ray in New Orleans. You're next up on Talking Cowboys.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Great.
I don't know about the miscues. It's so, like Mickey says, it's kind of weird, mysterious, and strange. I mean, I don't know if you can coach turnovers, but the Cobb fumble looked like Witten's fumble against the Saints, where I'm with Mickey. I can find you 3 points in that Saints game to where you could be maybe 6-2 or 6-3 now. Or it's just strange. And is Prescott not good enough to catch the snap on the other drive that kind of stalled, where he lost about 7 yards there? So all those things, I'm more concerned about maybe the holding call. Not that we're going to change Tyron Smith out, but those are things that calls back a touchdown and the missed field goal. So all these things that take place, it is weird. So and it is a trend because it's now 6 out of the 8 games you started off slow, and we say it's going to cost you against good teams, but it costed you against the Jets also. So how do you fix it? I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things you can't put your finger on. But hopefully, we've seen what happens when it goes the other way, and the Cowboys don't turn the ball over and get turnovers. We blew out the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm just going to – that's why it's a 16-game season. That's why I don't beat my chest at 3-0, because then we went on to lose 3 and then win 2. So all these teams can beat each other. Even the Green Bay game, where they physically beat us at the line of scrimmage, man, we still had a chance to win that game. Maybe if you don't have 3 turnovers and a missed field goal, you give the Green Bay Packers 2 less opportunities to go down and score points. And even in shootouts, even though your team and your defense gave up a lot of points to Aaron Rodgers and the running back, somebody's got to win that game. I watched Romo have a shootout with Manning. Somebody had to win the game. It ended up 51-48. But even when your defense gives up that many points, you just have to stay the course. You can't keep on giving turnovers. So even in all the games that we lost, we got our butts whipped against Green Bay, we still had a chance to win that game. And that's what I'm going to look forward to going forward. Maybe we just limit our mistakes. I don't know what the point of that. So thanks for taking the call. That's all I wanted to say. Go Tigers. Love you guys.
Appreciate it. While you talk about turnover margin, the turnover ratio, and the Cowboys are +1 right now on the season. You see what the New England Patriots are?
They're like +17.
+17.
Well, they've got, 18 interceptions?
19 picks.
19.
Yeah.
Wow.
19 picks.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But give the Ravens credit, man, and give Lamar Jackson credit.
Maybe we need to look and see what quarterbacks they were playing against.
There you go. Well,
one of them was Sam Darnold, who blew you up.
Thank you, Caden.
Whose voice was that?
I think that was the great Caden.
I don't know.
Yates.
I sound like a voice from God above or something.
All right. So
that's my point on Sam Darnold, right? Shame on them.
All right. So New England, they face Pittsburgh to start the season.
Pretty good quarterback.
Was Roethlisberger already hurt? Or?
Yeah. At Miami, who's quarterbacking them? Either
God
Rosen
knows who was quarterbacking at that point.
Jets.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, they did not They did not
and
face
that
Darnold.
wasn't Darnold. That
no,
was the
that's
third,
right. So take that, Case.
Yeah, that was.
They didn't face him.
That was the quarterback that got hurt.
Yeah, the second time.
Yeah. So they faced the second and third string quarterback,
and they barely beat Buffalo, 16-10.
Was that a young quarterback also?
Yeah, who turned it over 4 times.
Okay.
At Washington.
Okay.
The Giants.
At
the Jets
had they
again.
Changed already to Daniel?
Yes, they
why
had.
are we
Yes, they had.
Yes.
Let's not minimize this franchise.
Cleveland.
Look at this, though. 4 takeaways against Miami, 4 against Buffalo, 4 against the Giants, 6 against the Jets, 3 against Cleveland. And in the game that they lost against Baltimore, they were even in the turnover game.
Yeah.
They gave 2 away. They came up with 2. So there you have it.
Let's give him some due. Bill Belichick's done some pretty good things in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, won a Super Bowl, changing their whole defense,
Now,
surprising the Rams.
As for this week's opponent, the Minnesota Vikings are +4 in turnovers. So
that's one thing I noticed that jumps out about Cousins is this team's played him a lot, and he has turned the ball over. But I think 3 picks, 16-3 turnover.
That's
ratio.
Right. Yep.
Not bad. He's having a.
And it's been here in the last 4 or 5 weeks is when this is all taken place.
Yeah.
Now I know he's on a different team, but the Cowboys have done pretty good against him when he was in Washington. I want to say they only lost to him 1 time.
Now, I heard a stat, and I have not confirmed it. Where was I hearing it? Driving in.
Hopefully it was a reputable.
Kirk Cousins, I'll have to go check it. I'll check it in time for my next appearance here on Talking Cowboys, which will be Friday. Who's going to be with y'all tomorrow?
Lindsay.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Cousins. The Vikings with Cousins at quarterback, 0-9-1 against winning teams. Could that be right?
What do you mean? Like over the last
2 years?
2 years?
0-9-1?
0-9-1 against winning teams.
Wow.
Now, again, that's unconfirmed. I'm just throwing it out there. Somebody do the research on
winning teams, like at the time they played them?
I assume at the time they played them. I'm going to have to do the research on it, but I'll throw that out there as a little tease for tomorrow.
Friday or Thursday, whatever. Friday.
Friday. I got TV
It's
duties
already
tomorrow.
Wednesday, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It is a confusing week, isn't it? What's the most concerning thing you have about the Vikings?
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. I think just their defense. They're good at really every level of their defense, and that's what the slow start thing. That's why that ties in, because you can't afford to get off to a slow start against this group. They've got offensive weapons to make you pay for that. You aren't playing the Giants this week, so I go back to Zim.
Matchup I'm looking forward to more than any is Lyle Collins versus Danielle Hunter.
Yeah.
My guy, Danielle Hunter, he gets a sack every single – he only had a half sack this last week.
One of the most underrated players in the league.
8.5 sacks this year. And if you look at his career, he's approaching 50 sacks now in his career. He's around 48 or 49 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a late third-round draft pick.
Not only does Cook lead the league in rushing, he has 9 rushing touchdowns, too.
That's right.
And he's got like 40-something catches, too.
Mm-hmm. So
not bad.
And we've seen them have problems with running backs that run for touchdowns. Aaron Jones.
Oh, yeah.
You know how many
4
rushing
in
touchdowns
game.
he has right now?
No. 4?
8.
Okay.
Half of them in one game. Half of them.
It'd be even more impressive if he only had 4.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Talking Cowboys. Again, we've got Jason Garrett coming up a little later today at 11 o'clock. Just moments away, the Jason Garrett press conference.
Let's go.
Mickey, Rob, and Lindsay will talk at you tomorrow here on Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?